This is also fun for me. The early birds get to hear a fun fact, but I worked at the National Multiple Sclerosis Society for 8 years, and a couple months ago we were needing to do something in Wyoming, and I was looking at our Wyoming ambassador list, and funny enough, a very familiar name popped up. Individual named Leo Rodriguez was actually an ambassador for me at the MS Society as well, and he had filled out the ambassador application a few months before I even started here at Shatterproof. So it actually ended up being um, such a fun coincidence. And he actually was able to, for Save a Life Day, which I'm sure you also saw some of my emails about it, they didn't have anyone in Wyoming to represent. They had all the states except for Wyoming. And so Leo actually is able to put on a whole Save a Life Day initiative in Wyoming. It's the first time he's volunteered deeply with Shatterproof. And I worked with him for, Leo, I think we've known each other now for like probably 4 or 5 years, which is crazy. So it's always fun when you get to continue working with volunteers who mean a lot to you. So I'm grateful for that. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and get started so we can have more room to chat at the end. And obviously, people will be joining us throughout. If you have to hop at any point, no worries. I just appreciate y'all being here, and we'll be recording this as well, and I'll be sending it out. So if you end up having to hop or miss anything, don't worry, I will be sending out the recording to everyone. And yeah, so I'm excited to kick us off. Thank y'all so much for joining our second Shatterproof All Volunteer Call of 2025. For those of y'all who haven't chatted with me yet, my name's Gab Tuggle. I'm the Volunteer Engagement Director, and we are just so happy to have everyone here. Before we dive in, I know not everyone's familiar with Teams, so I wanted to give everyone a quick overview to help you use it. Depending on whether you access the call today via the app or the browser, your control panel might be above or below the slide deck, depending on how you joined. If you need live captions, to enable those, you'll go ahead and click on those three dots where it says More. You'll select Language and Speech, and then you'll go ahead and choose Turn on Live Captions. Since this is a webinar, everyone, like I've mentioned a couple times already, is automatically muted, but you're welcome to come up on camera. Love to see your faces, but no pressure either. And there's also going to be opportunities for y'all to engage throughout the call. So at the end, we're going to have an open discussion Q&A portion, which everyone's welcome to participate, where people can ask questions, share updates. We'll go over that more later on. But throughout the call, I wanted to tell y'all how y'all can still ask questions, add things to the chat. So first thing is there's a Q&A box up at the top. People are allowed to ask questions. So I know, especially for me, I think of something, and if I don't write it down, I will forget. And I don't want to, you're going to listen to me talk for 20 minutes and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot what I was going to ask her. So feel free to plop that in the Q&A box. If that's not working for you or is too difficult, you can also use the chat. Everyone's welcome to go ahead and utilize that. If you click on the chat icon, it should pin it to your open screen the entire time, so you don't have to worry about going in and out. And lastly is the raise your hand feature. During the Q&A portion, there'll be an opportunity for people to use the raise your hand icon. And if called on, I will give you access to unmute and you can come up on camera or whatever you desire. And if anyone's stuck or has any questions about Teams throughout, use the chat as well. I'll be checking it throughout the call. If you're having trouble viewing the PowerPoint, sometimes you just have to leave and come back in. I'm also happy to reshare at some point if no one's able to see it. So tonight we'll just be going over a few things. So first up, we'll just do a quick meet and greet of all of you. I'll give y'all some time in a second to introduce yourselves in the chat, and then we'll move into the who we are. Obviously, I know a lot of you already know who Shatterproof is, but we're kind of reworking the way we talk about it. And also there's a lot of things going on, so we wanted to kind of just share some updates around that. After that, we'll dive into Shatterproof volunteerism. Isn't that why we're all here tonight, is to talk about volunteering at Shatterproof? So we'll go over our new volunteer purpose statement and talk more about the tiers. I also wanted to take some time to do a deeper look at the mobilizer tier, which a lot of y'all are already engaging in. So we'll share some examples and updates and ways that you all can take action and how to engage in our events or in your community in general if there's not an event near you. We'll also talk about some upcoming things from our walks to Giving Tuesday to thank you calls to help y'all stay involved as we somehow get closer and closer to the end of 2025. And like I said before, we'll end it with some open discussions. So excited to jump in. So yeah, as I mentioned before, my name is Gab. I'll be facilitating our call. We also have my awesome intern, Andre, with us as well. So she'll be able to present at some point throughout this. But I'm the only one from Shatterproof staff tonight. So thank you for your grace and patience as I try to manage the chat and also talk to all of you throughout the call. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I joined Shatterproof back in January. So it's been really exciting to be here with all of you. I get to see all things volunteerism at Shatterproof. So not only the continuous improvement of it and all the communications, which is why many of you have met with me one-on-one or chatted with me via email. I also get to recruit all of our incredible walk volunteers, get y'all supported as y'all do community engagement events, all the things. So really honored to be here, and I feel like I learn more and more about this incredible community and this work every single day. And like I said before, I would love all of y'all to also introduce yourselves in the chat. This is why we all come together once a quarter, is so they all can meet each other and learn about other volunteers that exist across the Shatterproof landscape. So if you're wanting to, I would love for you to go ahead and add your name into the chat, where you're located, if you're comfortable, how long you've been involved, why you're here if you're comfortable. And I also know the importance of connecting with fellow volunteers. So if you want to, you're also welcome to share your contact information or your social media handles, as I know a lot of y'all like to interact via email, text, get together in the community, things like that. So I will let y'all do that in the chat. Excited to see some names pop up. While y'all are doing that, I wanted to kind of dive a little bit more into the who we are. So as I said, I would say 99% of everyone on this call is familiar, obviously, with Shatterproof's work, but we also continuously every day get new volunteers as part of our mission. So I wanted to take some time to dive into the who we are. And as I mentioned before, we've been updating the ways we discuss this work to keep it relevant to all the new challenges that continue to face our community every single day. So some of it might have shifted a little bit since some of y'all started with us, so wanted to give space to go over that. And to start off this portion, I just kind of wanted to ground us in some important data as it relates to addiction and substance use disorder here in the US. So as mostly everyone knows, there's nearly 49 million Americans that have had substance use disorder in just the last year. Nearly half of all American adults say that they have a family member or close friend who has had SUD. Overdose is the #1 cause of accidental death in our country. SUD impacts our economy, costing the US more than $1 trillion per year in healthcare, lost productivity, and carceral rate related costs. That's fun. Despite being a treatable medical condition, less than 2 out of every 10 people get treatment for SUD. So as everyone knows here, Shatterproof really uses evidence and data as our guide in our work. So through that, Shatterproof is a national nonprofit working to reduce or reverse the addiction crisis. And everyone always asks me, as we all know, there's a lot of nonprofits that exist. There's a lot of local organizations and national organizations that exist in the SUD space. So really what makes Shatterproof different? And I think the bottom line is that we're here for everyone impacted by substance use disorder, not just those who have lost somebody. And so I think that's kind of what makes us different and unique, and I think has been an interesting conversation starter and intriguing point as I'm meeting with people across the community. And I also think might be a helpful thing for all of y'all to share as well when y'all are trying to partner with people or get a table at an event and things like that. So whether you're in recovery, supporting a loved one, standing as an ally, or just deeply care, all of you belong here, and I'm grateful that you all are here. So at Shatterproof, we're confronting the most urgent public health crisis of our time, addiction. We're here to reduce the devastating burden of substance use disorder on families, communities, and our nation, not just by helping people today, but by transforming the system for tomorrow. Our work spans the full continuum of prevention, treatment, and recovery. We're policy change makers, community educators, system disruptors, and stigma fighters. Every initiative we take on is grounded in science, shaped by lived experience, and designed to deliver measurable impact. So whether that's changing laws in state houses and Congress, launching the first ever quality standards for addiction care, or building digital tools that help millions access the treatment they deserve, we lead with bold action. And we never lose sight of our bottom line, which is saving lives. Through your volunteerism at Shatterproof, each of you are leading the way to ensure that our world is free from are free suffering from SUD sooner rather than later. And we're really excited to have each of you as a partner in our life-saving work. And I know all of y'all have seen this before too, but we kind of want to go over the how. So as y'all know, Shatterproof exists within 4 pillars of work. And so many of you touch all 4 of these pillars all the time, and are super well-rounded, diversely engaged volunteers. So, and even if you're someone who focuses on walk, that's also incredible. It's also important to know all the other work that exists here at Shatterproof. So let's go over some specifics. So policy change, we have led the passage of more than 50 laws at the state and federal level, making naloxone more available, protecting Good Samaritans, improving how addiction treatment is paid for, and closing the loophole that allowed illegal fentanyl to flood into our country. We're also educating and empowering. We're equipping schools, families, and employers with tools to prevent addiction and reduce stigma before a crisis even starts. We also led the creation of the insurance industry's first ever principles of care for addiction treatment and used them to create the Shatterproof Treatment Atlas, which, as many of us know, is the first national platform that helps people find addiction care based on science, not guesswork. We also do our stigma reduction programming and work throughout the country. We challenge outdated narratives through powerful campaigns, media partnerships, and grassroots engagements, like all of our Shatterproof walks, because 7 of the 9 drivers of overdose crisis are driven by stigma. And I know you're probably like, oh my gosh, Gab, we know this. That's why we're all here. But I think it's important. I think a lot of us have been on hold. A lot of the volunteers at Shatterproof have been on the sideline or have been involved in one thing but didn't know other areas of work existed. And so while it might feel like I say this a lot and we kind of go over these during the first all volunteer calls, I think hearing other people talk about it, picking up on tidbits of information that you might have not known before is really important, as all of y'all are the ones who are building awareness consistently across the country in our communities. Oh my gosh, there's so many fun people introducing themselves in the chat. I'm so happy all of you are here. I'm excited to read through all of these after the call too. So I'm excited to continue our conversation from last time on our ever-evolving ways we are forming volunteerism here at Shatterproof. As I mentioned last time, my commitment is truly to ensure that each of you have the structure, support, and opportunities that you've been asking for. And I'm trying to do this through clear tools, meaningful connection, and ways to take action that truly make a difference. I'm really excited to share. I know some of us have seen this. It's been in some progress reports, it's been in some emails, but I'm excited to share the full volunteer purpose statement with you all tonight. In our last call, I only shared one sentence because that was kind of the core of what we were building this statement off of. But now we've really built it to reflect the heart of what we're all doing together. This is the work, this is what all of y'all embody. After, meeting with over 200 of you my first few months, this is what I heard, and this kind of helped shape this new purpose statement. And it reads as follows: we believe in the power of people to change the course of addiction in the US. Volunteerism at Shatterproof is more than service, it's a movement. It's how we honor lived experiences, build connection, and inspire hope. We rally passionate people, with those with lived expertise and those who care deeply, to drive change and stigma, support recovery, and save lives. Volunteerism is the heartbeat of Shatterproof, loud, visible, and impossible to ignore. So I hope all of y'all, when there's maybe lulls in engagement or you're trying to figure out like kind of what your next thing is, you sit back and think about this, as all of y'all are doing so much constant work all of the time. So I also want to talk through our volunteer tiers. I know we announced it on our last call that we're kind of shifting toward this tier model. And I know I verbally told all of you, and you've seen it as well on some other physical resources, but I want to take some time to walk through them and also give y'all the opportunity to share how this is making you feel, share any questions that you might have, and we'll kind of dive into some of the work all of y'all are doing. So These are really meant to help us better support you based on how you want to engage. And I just wanted to kind of go over the progress of kind of where we're at with all of these too. These tiers really help us build the volunteer ecosystem that meets you where you are. All tiers are interconnected, and as we work on developing the tools, resources, education, and connection you all need to feel supported in this work, the deeper the involvement will become through all of these tiers. So let's just take a second to break it down. We'll dive into the mobilizer tier a bit more after this, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but at the end of the day, you all are mobilizers. You all are the ones, no matter where you came from, what role you've had, how long you've been involved in Shatterproof, all of us are mobilizers on this call. And these are really just those quick, easy ways to take action. And also the goal is to spread awareness and build community power. We can do this every day. We can do this in singular conversations, random social media posts, commenting on something, thumbsing up the Shatterproof social media post, just talking about Shatterproof, sharing your story. It's those simple, tangible things, and no training is needed, just really a basic understanding of who Shatterproof is. And these can be either one-time or ongoing opportunities. Every volunteer here, I firmly believe, matters, and I am grateful to have you a part of this movement, whether volunteer at one walk and we never talk again, or you're, doing something a couple times a year, or you're volunteering 365 days. All of y'all's involvement matters, and that's why the mobilizer tier is so important. Um, some examples for this include awareness building, writing cards, tabling, sharing resources, and our general walk volunteers. So that connector point is kind of that middle ground. So this is a little bit more of an intentional engagement. And the goal here is to really take meaningful action and connect others to the mission. So this is some training that would exist, also a deeper understanding of Shatterproof's work. Some of the ways that this could fall into is one-on-one conversations or targeted outreach support. Last time we did not share specific examples on connectors and ambassadors, so I wanted to make sure to provide those today. So some of these examples could include like a volunteer recruitment event, supporting Shatterproof at other events that happen, opportunities to build network, and the walk committee. So these things are happening, more often. They take a little bit more time and energy. They maybe take a little bit more prep work. And they could potentially be more intentional conversations that lead to bigger ones or bigger awareness opportunities over time. And the last one is ambassadors. So I actually got a decent amount of emails about this after our last call. And I knew this was going to happen, and I meant to talk about it during the last call and totally forgot. But I heard from a few of you that who were part of the ambassador program who were unsure if you were still involved, or if all of these years of attending meetings and being a part of something in a deeper, more intentional way was still happening, if you still had a spot here at Shatterproof. And yes, you absolutely do, and you absolutely can still be a Shatterproof ambassador. We're just pausing the overall program. I think we know that there was a gap between like the ambassador level and people who were just joining us, and there wasn't really a way to bridge that. And so by pausing the ambassador program, we're not pausing your work. You can still go out and do ambassador things. If you find a really intentional way that you want to engage, you still can. We still have our New York City Junior Council, obviously our board. There's still a lot of you who call me regularly like, hey, I usually do an annual lunch and learn at my company. Can I do that still? Because we're not doing the ambassador thing. We are. You are still able to do that work. We just know that when you are an ambassador title at an organization, you require a lot more training. You require a lot more tools, resources, connection opportunities, and we just haven't gotten to that point yet to be able to provide you all those high level things. So you can still do that work. You can still be a part of it, and always loop me in if you're feeling kind of that because we're not talking about the ambassador program consistently that you don't belong. You do. I promise I would love to talk with you more about it. And like I said, most of our volunteers right now do fall in that mobilizer tier, even ambassadors. All of these tiers are interconnected. All of these tiers, even if you call yourself a mobilizer, I'm sure you're doing ambassador things every once in a while. It's all connected. Y'all are all doing this important work. But being in the mobilizer tier, that's a great thing. All of y'all are out there taking initiative, showing up in your communities, and making a difference. So I wanted to take some time to dive into the mobilizer tier because I've also got a lot of questions about that. And I wanted to be honest. I think when I've met with a lot of you, I told y'all I'm candid. I don't want to put up this like front or fib or make excuses. So I'll be honest. I had truly hoped to be further along with building out this mobilizer tier by now. I really thought I would. I was talking to Andre this morning and I was like, wow, time's crazy. I can't believe we last met in June and it's somehow September. But most of y'all know too, it's the middle of walk season, and a lot of other things happening too. But I promise I've still been chipping away at it, and I'm excited to share more with y'all as we get closer to the end of the year, because I do know I did promise by the end of 2025. So let's do a little bit of fun spotlights to show y'all really what these mobilizers can do, what each of you are doing. In the progress update that I hope all of y'all received last week, if you are not receiving my emails might be going to your junk because that happens on a regular basis. Or you might not be on some of my other lists that I'm sending from, or I might have your wrong email. So if that's the case and you're listening or on the call today, shoot me a note. I would love to make sure you're on my proper lists. But on the progress update that I sent last week, there was some examples of volunteers creating their own opportunities, whether that's, tabling, attending events, distributing resources. That's exactly what being a mobilizer is all about. I wanted to share some exciting things. I know I mentioned walk volunteers. We already have over 170 walk volunteers for our 6 walks signed up. Our first walk is next weekend in Chicago. I'll talk a little bit more about walk here in a minute, but all of the people who are volunteering with us at walks are mobilizers. We've also had over a dozen of you reach out to me telling me that you had an event happening and you would love to get Shatterproof material and go out to a local health fair, or your school was doing a community engagement fair. We've had events through like Create Your Own Fundraiser or Walk Your Way events where we're like, hey, we need Shatterproof to have a table there. And y'all exist everywhere. Our staff does not, but all of you do. And so we've been sending some of y'all out to go do those things and supporting all with that. I'm also working on a resource library in the portal to make it easier for each of you to find what you need. So if you're attending something, you know exactly what to look for, maybe what to read up on, resources to reach out to folks, all of that jazz. So it's about halfway there. Excited to share that with y'all soon. And if you have been doing some of these things, if you're like, oh, I'm a mobilizer, I've been doing some things, please drop it in the chat. I would love to see other examples of maybe people I didn't highlight today in this slide. Along with the mobilizer thing, one thing I've been hearing a lot is interest in giveaways or a physical way to connect with the community by providing something along with your awareness building. And when a lot of these conversations are happening, a lot of the time it's around opioid overdose reversal agents like Narcan. And that's brought up especially just because we just had International Overdose Awareness Day on August 31st. There was a lot of y'all attending events for that, and a lot of y'all who just want access to these things. So I wanted to share a few tools and tips on how to access these products. One of the things that I will do is put a link in the chat for a Shatterproof Spotlit page that y'all are welcome to look at, that has a lot of resources in there as well. So what is naloxone? Naloxone, y'all might have also heard it called Narcan or Aviso. It's a safe FDA-approved medication that can reduce opioid overdoses in minutes. It works by displacing opioids from receptors in the brain, restoring breathing, and saving lives. It comes in a couple different forms. It comes mostly what a lot of us have seen is nasal spray. It also comes in an injection form as well. One of the important things to make sure you know is the signs of an opioid overdose. I won't walk through them because I know sometimes they can be triggering to individuals, and I did not give a trigger warning today, so I will not go over that. But please take time to educate yourselves by clicking on that link. There's a video in there on how to distribute it. And all kinds of helpful information. But to the original point of how do I get this? I want to pass it out while I'm at a tabling event. I want to go reach out to my local community businesses and talk to them about Shatterproof and give them something physical to show them that we care about this community. So you can look at Harm Reduction Coalition Naloxone Finders. This connects people with free naloxone and harm reduction supplies. A lot of local health departments also may offer free or low cost naloxone kits. And also a lot of community organizations. I know we are a national organization. There's a lot of local community harm reduction organizations or other ways or other focused areas that will provide this for free, which is great. There's also a lot of other options and ways to get it. Check out that link that I sent. And also Google's been insanely helpful lately because it has a little summary at the top of the page. But if you look up, how do I get naloxone or Narcan, like, and put in your city and state, it'll literally give you a list of like 10 things specifically for your community to reach out to, along with email addresses and things like that, which has been really helpful. So this is also a question I got a lot. We went to World Pride a couple months ago and had a big table there. We had 1,000 people plus come to our table. We were passing out Opvi, which is naloxone, and a lot of people were like, well, why do I want to carry this? I don't work with this community. I don't, I don't know anyone with SUD. All of these comments that we got, I know everyone here knows why you would carry it, but as we all know, it's important because bystanders are more likely to use naloxone than CPR in overdose situations. And also carrying it is a very simple and powerful way to save lives. There is a lot of volunteers, like I said, who've acquired and utilized this in their community engagement. One thing I was talking before most of y'all joined was Leo, who is a newer volunteer here at Shatterproof. I had sent out the Save a Life Day information. They were looking for a state rep in Wyoming. He has never acquired Narcan products or naloxone products before, and through just a lot of outreach and connections, he was actually able to get 200 boxes of Narcan for his Save a Life Day. Very first time he's ever had it or asked for it or acquired it. So that was super exciting. The New York City Junior Council, who I've mentioned before, it's a group of young professionals in and around the city, and they are doing a big effort right now where they actually got a Narcan donation through the City of New York Department of Health. And they also can receive up to 500 boxes through it. And all they had to do was fill out that they were partnered with Shatterproof. If you need certain signatures on things, I'm happy to work and collaborate with you on getting those, give you a 501c3 letter, like literally anything you need. I am happy to provide as y'all are looking to get it. But one of the things I wanted to share was an actual example from Andre, who has been acquiring Narcan for a long time. So Andre, I would love for you to come up and share with the group what's worked with you.
Sure. Thanks, Gab. So my name is Andre. I'm located in Southern California, and I'm completing my internship for human services at Cal State Fullerton. Luckily, I was very fortunate to have a relationship with Shatterproof, and we were able to create an internship, which I've been helping with community outreach and also the 2025 walks to end the addiction stigma. So also I have lots of other jobs that Gab has given me, but this is right now the community outreach has been my main focus these past couple of weeks. So a little background, I found Shatterproof in 2022 after my son Stephen died from SUD and fentanyl poisoning. I wanted to bring a difference to the community and bring awareness as well. And Shatterproof's values aligned with mine. So it was a perfect fit. So Gab elaborate on naloxone, and I'll show you what I've been doing in my outreach, both in local community and at Shatterproof. So I've done my best to educate myself so I can speak knowledgeably to the community and that naloxone can save lives. So in the photo here, you'll see a couple of things I'm going to talk about. This box here is in front of my house, and I've created like a little library to hand out naloxone along with Shatterproof information and Atlas information, along with books that relate to addiction that the community is welcome to take anytime. I buy the books on my own, and I give those out to the community. As you can see in this is a picture of the inside. I've got naloxone in there. A lot of people, you'd be surprised, who comes in, they see these the little notebooks that I have on top. They take those too because they want to be able to learn more. And whoever, I get a lot of homeless in my community. I'm in Southern California. So I do have a lot of people walking down our streets. So, they've taken plenty of books out of my library. And also in this little notepad here, people write notes and thank yous. And it's very empowering for me to be able to give this back to the community. So last year, with the support of Recovery Road here in Orange County, I did start this library. So I first connected with Recovery Road during the opening of my overdose memorial Christmas tree that I put, which is here on the right side. And they've continued to help keep the library supplied. And basically, as you can see, that box looks just like a little library. So in addition, I do community outreach each week, handing out naloxone and sharing information about Shatterproof so more people know where to find resources, treatment options, and support. So as mentioned, each year I continue the overdose memorial tree tradition. I've had people from all over. I've got Facebook groups that I belong to as well that I've also printed out their loved ones who can put their loved one on this tree right here, which is, I get custom ornaments, photos, and it creates a place for remembrance and healing for those of us who have lost one. So the response has been so meaningful also that NBC, ABC, and Spectrum News have all shared this story, which I've been very fortunate to get this out. Therefore, I've had a lot more traction in my neighborhood. So as you can see in the middle right, this is my booth that I put up each week when I go to community outreach programs like farmers markets or whatnot. And I have a lot of people that come by, and I'm able to speak to them more about, why it is important to carry Narcan or naloxone. As Gab was mentioning, we all need to carry it. Just in case, because the bystanders, I've had plenty of people come to my booth and talk to me saying, well, I don't ever need this. I said, well, you never know. You could be walking down the street. You could be doing, there's all kinds of examples. And since I've been doing this booth, I've probably given away 5-6 cases of Narcan, along with passing out information about Shatterproof. So with these projects, I'm sorry, I saw Heather's note there. With these projects, the library, the outreach, and the tree comes from personal motivation and belief that awareness must be paired with action. So through my work with Shatterproof and the support from Recovery Road, which I'm able to replenish my stock at all times. They also provide fentanyl test strips. They also provide these, what are they called? They're like little packets. So if your drug tests positive for fentanyl, that you can actually destroy the drug in there and it won't get into our water system, and it won't get into anyone else's hands. And I am definitely not supporting drug use, but what I am supporting is harm reduction. So so that's about it in a nutshell. I hope that explains everything, and let me know if you have any questions. But in honor of my son, I've been doing this, and I will continue to do this even after my internship is over. Thanks, Gab.
Thanks, Andre. Yeah, when Andre reached out a few months ago, I knew that she was a fundraiser and participated in our walks, but I didn't know all of the cool, unique things that she was doing just in her own front yard. So it really shows that, you can make this your own. You can engage in a unique way that, fills your cup, helps you spread awareness in the ways that are meaningful for you, and how Andre partners with her local organization as well with Shatterproof. To engage more deeply and get the tools and resources she needs from different avenues, which I think is great. One of the things too, through Save a Life Day, I know a couple of y'all are doing those events. There has been some of you, for the first person who signed up in every state, they got like the same thing as Andre has, like a newspaper open door box. Leo actually was able to talk to his community nurses organization, and I probably got that wrong, Leo, so apologize about that. But he's actually they're going to keep the Narcan distribution box like in their building permanently, which their lobby's open 24/7, which is really cool that people are going to be able to do that. The New York City Junior Council is passing it out to bars and restaurants, where they are doing like 10-minute education classes to the staff, and then they're going to keep it in the back staff rooms at every bar and restaurant that they go into and get accepted to distribute it at, so that way they can keep it. So there's a lot of different unique things to do with it. And if you have any of those to share too, would love to see it in the chat, or would love for you to come up in a few minutes before we open it up. Thank you, Andre, for sharing. So my last slide before we open it up for all of you is that September is National Recovery Month, and this is really the perfect time to take action. So look around your community, see what's happening. Are there events, awareness campaigns, or opportunities to share Shatterproof resources? Whether it's big or small, your presence matters, and use this month to show up, speak out, and support those impacted by addiction. We still have half a month left to go, so there's still a lot of time to make an impact, and we still have how many months? 3 more months of the year, after 3.5. So there's still so much time to make impact before the end of the year as well. Um, and I lied, that was on my last slide, but this one will be quick. Just our upcoming stuff. Make sure that you're registered on the volunteer portal to keep in the know of different things happening, making sure that you're in our system. So when there are opportunities that arise, you're not having to go in and sign up and do a couple extra steps. You're just able to sign up and go do the thing. It's super easy. That's where all of our walks are right now. And as more things start to come up, I'm going to continue to post opportunities on there. As I mentioned before, we have our walks coming up. Can't believe our first one's next weekend. We'll be kicking off in Chicago. We'll also be in Boston, DC, New York City, LA, and Dallas. And if there isn't a walk in your area, but you want to do something on walk day, feel free to look up our Walk Your Way events. We have a lot of really cool ways that you can still participate and walk in person or virtually across the country. And I'll also put on our volunteer link for all of the walks as well. So if you are wanting to volunteer at one of our walks, which I know many of y'all are, we would love to have you. There's a lot of different ways that you can still get involved. We'll be launching thank you call opportunities soon. So these are great ways for you to connect with our supporters and share appreciation. I'll share the link for it after today's call. It also is already live on the portal, so you are actually able to find it if you go on there now to sign up. It's just to help us with thank you calls to all of our incredible donors and fundraisers. And donors and fundraisers love to hear thank you calls from volunteers. It has been one of my most successful initiatives in all of my nonprofit career, because they're hearing from one of their own. They're hearing from someone who is out there cheering them on at the finish line, or who's out there building awareness the same way they are every day. It's really meaningful, and it's a super flexible opportunity as well. So if you kind of work a crazy schedule, or are looking for some one-off volunteer hours to wrap up the rest of your year, feel free to sign up. There's also our two endurance events coming up. We'll have participants running in the Marine Corps Marathon on October 26th, as well as at the New York City Marathon. There will be volunteer opportunities for these two to cheer on these participants from Team Shatterproof, so keep an eye out for that too. We also have our Shatterproof Golf Classic coming up next weekend, or in 2 Mondays from now, where people are whatever day that is. Sorry, y'all. I have so many dates and numbers in my mind sometimes. I'm like, what month is it? But that'll be coming up. That's in Connecticut. There's a couple of volunteer opportunities for that. It's not on the portal, but if you're in Connecticut and interested, would love to have you go there. You can also still do your Walk Your Way, like I said, as well as a Create Your Own fundraiser, if that's of interest to you. And then obviously this is National Recovery Month, and Giving Tuesday will be coming up on December 2nd. We'll have a lot of opportunities surrounding that as well. And we'll do a December meeting. I haven't chosen a date just yet, but stay tuned for that. And we'll be doing a really great end of year gratitude call, and just really a time for connection and reflection from the group, not so much talking from me. So excited for that call as well. Okay, now it's time for open discussion. So if you want, please put a question in the Q&A box or in the chat. You can drop in your questions, thoughts, or even highlight a recent awesome thing that you have done in your volunteer work, or maybe even like a low. Maybe you've run into an obstacle and you want to get some feedback from your fellow volunteers here.